Okay, welcome to another edition of Real Estate Radio, and I'm here with our two guests from the company which is called Gibraltar Corporate Capital. They do US investments, particularly for South Africans, and they call it USA Property Partnerships, specifically if we're looking at the assisted living space, and also into EB5. And online with me now, I've got Johan Stern. He's based in Florida, close to Orlando, and he's the chairman of the Gibraltar team, and he will tell us a little bit about Gibraltar Corporate Capital in the States. And in South Africa, we've got the head of sales for Gibraltar Corporate Capital South Africa, Ryan van Heerden. So, gentlemen, very warm welcome.
Well, thanks very much, Neil.
Yeah, thank you, Neil. It's great to be speaking to you guys here out of sunny Florida.
Fantastic. Okay, well, in Cape Town, where I'm based, it's not too bad. The sun is shining as well. All right, so guys, welcome. I think let's get straight to it. First of all, tell us a little bit about Gibraltar Corporate Capital. Where did it all start? And maybe let's kick off on that.
Well, let me just kick off here that I used to be involved very heavily in real estate in South Africa, and did a lot of development since the age of 20. I started building my first house. So I have a lot of experience I've done hotels development with Saul Kersner. I've done shopping centers. I've done hotels, timeshare, and quite a few other developments that I've done in South Africa. When I emigrated to the United States of America, at first I thought I'll give the real estate a little bit of a rest, but I decided to get back into the real estate business because there's so much opportunity over here, and specialized in. I did a lot of research into the market to see what was the best in the United States, being so vast and so enormous. I mean, it's really South Africa on steroids here.
Yeah.
And I looked into it quite intensely and saw where the market potential was, and the market potential is definitely in the retirement business. The baby boomers, we've got 77 million baby boomers here. So and they all starting to retire. We've got 10,000 people a day turning 85 and 40,000 a day turning 65. So it's one of the strongest markets for the next 25 years.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, Ryan, you're dealing a lot with the clients in South Africa. And what is the motivation for going to the United States? I mean, what are they saying? Why is it such a good move?
Oh, Neil, good grief. You just got to wake up and listen to the news, and then you'll get a real good couple of reasons. I think a couple of things. One is I think people are concerned about asset protection, for one. There's a lot of talk about, oh, geez, I hope it's not going to be another Zimbabwe and, the land expropriation, all these different things that are now playing on the economy. And the fact that, it really looks like, I'll be honest with you, I don't even, preach negative news here, but it's potentially an IMF bailout that's staring South Africa in the face. And that could really impact people's retirement and their pensions and that type of thing. So I think one is what Johan mentioned is the carrot, which is a massive opportunity. And that's initially why I started looking at the States. I wanted to kind of diversify my portfolio, because it's all in real estate in South Africa. And then, the other side is, kind of a bit of the fear factor where people think, oh, good grief, if I've got, millions of rands here and the rand turns, I need to protect it in more solid or stable currency. So I think it's a little bit of both. Some people want the carrot, in other words, secure assets in the States, and others want to avoid losing their assets here in South Africa.
Right. So why invest in the US? I think, there is, you mentioned in South Africa, there is a lot of doom and gloom. And I'm fortunate to talk to a lot of business people, the likes of some of the billionaires, even like Chris Ovisa. And even some of them, they believe they make most of their money when everybody's exiting the country. But I think this may be the other reasons I would think that it would probably make sense for some people just to move their money offshore into a more stable sort of currency. Not everybody wants to leave the country, but it makes a lot of sense to invest in the USA. So you've actually moved across the ocean, Johan. So
yes.
What is, you mentioned that the US is such a diverse market. So what makes it just such a powerful economy?
Well, we always tend, when we're in South Africa, think of America as one country. It's actually 52 countries, split up into little states. I mean, Florida in itself, the GDP of Disney World is bigger than the GDP of South Africa.
Yeah.
So we got 70 million tourists that come through here every year. Yeah. So it's so enormous. That's why I say it's South Africa on steroids. Yeah. When I moved in '92, I moved to America. It was $3.50 a dollar.
Wow.
I still remember the days in 1980, pre-84, before the Rubicon speech, when the rand was stronger than the dollar.
Yes.
And so, you've got to safeguard your currency, you've got to safeguard your investments. And America being one of the strongest or the strongest economy in the world, it's a good place to put it. And when I say we've got 52 different countries here, it could be sometimes booming in one state and it could be depressed in another state. So the place where we are in the Space Coast is an extremely booming area. It's one of the top booming areas at the moment. We develop in Florida and in Texas, both very booming areas. And we have this issue here with the everybody wanting to go to the moon and to Mars and the satellite developments. Before, there used to be a rocket maybe shooting off once every couple of months. Now it's weekly that our rockets being shot off satellites. Boeing is moving here. Boeing already bought out Embraer. Boeing's building jet planes over here. So there's so much coming into this area. It's an amazing, booming economy where we are.
So, I mean, I've been fortunate. I've actually been to Florida, been to Texas. In fact, I've been to 16 states in the US. And so I have seen a little bit of the area where you're at. And what I did pick up a couple of years back is that Florida is certainly growing that's where all the retirees are moving to. Because it's, as you mentioned, right at the start, Johan, it's the Sunshine State. It's known as the Sunshine State. So I assume, do you have stats on that in terms of what the number of people? I know people are moving from west to east. And
well, yes,
all that. Yeah.
We call, Neil, interrupting that. We call them snowbirds. We got all these northerners coming that are sick and tired of shoveling snow in the winter that come down here. So, and then of course they come for the season. A lot of them come just for the winter season, about 6 months in the year, and then in the summer they would go back up north again. So we've got that movement, and then people eventually get tired of having two homes, and eventually all move down here. And of course, where they hear from retirement, they need assisted living, memory care, and all the other facilities that we provide in our company. I anticipate another 10 million people to come through here over the next 5 years, move down south.
Right.
Well, I got the stats there, Neil. Actually, it's about 1,000 baby boomers moving into Florida every single day.
Wow. Now, that's
pretty significant.
That is significant. And and I believe, and maybe it's a question that I would say, would it be relevant to South Africans as well? Because I know a lot of people have moved from California to states like Florida for tax reasons. Because are there tax benefits for South Africans if they had to invest in one of these facilities or even into an EB5?
Yeah, well, you see, this is one thing South Africans don't realize, that every state being a different country, every state having different tax codes, the two best states are Florida and Texas.
Yeah.
So the highest tax states, unfortunately, are in the north, and people move down south for two reasons: the sunshine and the better tax state. So we have a great movement of people coming down this way.
Fantastic. So I think, Ryan, maybe you must probably share some of the opportunities there. I mean, what is it that you're seeing interest in for the South Africans? What are they looking at? What is grabbing their attention in terms of the new developments that you're involved in?
Neil, I mean, I went over with because I had to investigate myself. I mean, I know real estate in South Africa, and I thought, well, how do you make money in the United States? Because the interest rates are low. There's not this massive growth. And when I went over there, it's not simple just to make money in any kind of real estate. You need partners that know what they're doing, for one. Mm-hmm. You need people that know the systems there, because you may be really good here in South Africa and know your stuff. But I mean, it's like, Johan said, it's literally every state's got different laws and regulations and that. And I thought it would be really difficult to make money in the States. But the more I started looking at what Johan and Gibraltar were doing in terms of the assisted living, I just suddenly realized, if you've got that many, there's certain trends that happen at certain periods of time in history. Like when the dot-com whole boom came along, and, eventually went bust because, for various reasons. But, when you've got a trend where there are that many baby boomers that are going to be retiring over a period of now the next 20-odd years, it's not like having a holiday home, which is nice to have, and if, the economy is not good, you get rid of it. Yeah. When you need to retire, you have to retire. We've got the same situation with elderly parents here in South Africa. It's not like a nice to have. It's an absolute essential. And then I realized that if we are catering for these people that have got resources, it's the wealthiest group of people in the world, in history, all retiring over a period of, these 20, 30 odd years, they're going to spend their money somewhere. So all the trend is in terms of helping older people, facilities for older people, consumer goods for mature people, older people. And I suddenly realized that if we are going to be making wealth or creating wealth over the next 20, 30 years, good grief, we'd be absolute idiots not to be looking at this particular segment of the market and focusing 100% on where that's going to go. And that's why I got extremely excited, because I saw the trends. I started doing research in terms of returns over 1, 3, and 5 years, and it absolutely blew my mind. I don't think there's going to be this type of boom in my lifetime again, and I'm just excited that I kind of caught on to it, partnered with the right people, and the facilities we've got and the models that we've got for people to create wealth and retain their wealth are fascinating. But that, for a one-on-one conversation, and obviously on our website, Gibraltar.co.za, they can get the gist of what we're doing.
Okay.
And the other thing, Neil, Neil, the other thing which I think is very important is that we have such low interest rates that are fixed. And that surprised me coming from South Africa, because I've done some developments where in SA, which horrifically interest rate climbed up to 18, 19, 20%, which nearly had me lose my developments. Here, you get a 4.5% fixed for 30, 40 years. And if the interest rates come down, you can bring your interest rate down without having to pay penalties. If it goes up, you stuck with you're at your lower level. So that is where you can base your. It's my background is accounting. I started in South Africa as a CA accountant, and it is very hard to budget, future budget, when you have no idea what the interest rate is going to be. Here, you're able to budget for the next 30 years because your interest rate is flat.
Yeah.
Not going to go up. So it makes your property investment that much more exciting and that much more profitable.
Absolutely. So Ryan, maybe just unpack exactly what would you be investing in? Are you buying a property? Are you buying part of a property? How does the assisted living and memory care work in particular? How does that?
Okay.
Can you unpack that?
We've got a couple of offerings. The entry point is $10,000 if you're investing in the assisted living. And you essentially buy shares in the company, and you start earning a fixed interest rate from day one, paid to you monthly, of 7% per annum, paid to you monthly. So, for example, if you're investing $100,000, you get a $583 payment or dividend payment paid to you every month. Okay. Once the facility is built, say it takes 2 years, and these models are on the website, you can take a look at it, gibraltar.co.za. Once it's built, we start letting it out. Now you've got shares in a facility now that is being let out. Okay. So your return would likely increase, say, for example, of 10%. So now you're earning about $883 a month, a return on your investment in the facility. Once we've let it out, then there's a couple of options. Now you've got a fully let out facility that you could effectively refinance, if that was the decision of Gibraltar. If they refinance at a low interest rate, then one of the options is you can take your capital out but retain your shares, and then you continue earning a return on your shares for the next couple of years until that facility is either sold to a REIT, or we develop our own REIT, a real estate investment trust, and then when that whole entire facility is sold to a pension fund or investment trust, then effectively you get a profit share on the sale. So there's multiple ways that you'll be earning a return, and that's with the assisted living. It's a very exciting model, and that's what really got me, starting to put my money into these projects. The other one is a much safer standard product, which is you effectively buy a lot. You keep the note on the lot. Gibraltar will build a home on that lot.
A lot being a plot, as we would say in South Africa.
That's a lot. And then it takes about 8 to 10 months to build a property, a 3 or 4 bedroom home on that property. It's $45,000. You get a 10% return on the sale of the property. So once it's sold, you return your note, you get your capital back plus a 10% return. And so it depends on what your appetite is and where you are in life. But I think those two offerings are what our main focus.
Okay, great. So Johan, I mean, you probably dealt with a lot of South African investors, and we get the question all the time when people invest offshore: is my money going to be secure? Is it in safe hands? Because we have got, we have seen 1 or 2 bad luck stories of some people giving it to some, unruly operators and people losing their money. So maybe you can just give the investors out there some assurance in terms of their money when investing.
Okay, well, that's why we put the number one, let's call it the ultra safe investment, which is buying a lot or a plot. That you invest in, which you have which you have a mortgage on, or a bond, as you call it in South Africa, on the property in the form of a note. You are in a second position. So as soon as the house is built and sold, you get your money back. And it usually it takes about anywhere between 6 and 8 months. The ones we're building now in a housing development will actually turn around every 6 months because everything is ready there. The services are in, so we don't have delays. That's usually where we have a couple of months delays with services and all those type of things. So that's a very secure one. It's your property. If, say, for example, the market collapses tomorrow, and it could happen anywhere in the world. I mean, we've had that phenomenon in 2008. If the market collapses, you own the lot. So you take the lot and do with the lot and hold on with it until the market recovers again. So you can't lose your capital. When it comes to the secondary investing in the assisted living, well, there, of course, with the market conditions that we have in the retirement and the baby boomers, makes it the safest place to invest your money. I wouldn't be investing it anywhere else. My own capital is invested in assisted living because it's predicted to be the hottest commodity by people like Harry Dent, their organization that does an analyst
of
property. They recommend assisted living, and of course anything in the retirement side. So that is that's your security there. And I feel, everybody that has come over from South Africa to come see us, meet with us, has invested 10 times more than they anticipated to invest in the beginning, because they like us, they see us, they can feel us, they can call us. And so that gives them a lot of security.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe you want to talk a little bit about just unpack the mortgage. How would that work? What kind of mortgage could they get? 50%, more than 50, maybe 60%?
If people wanted to buy a home here in America, are you talking about that?
Correct, yes.
They would get a 70%.
70% mortgage.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay, so do you want to unpack the EB5, Ryan? Do you want to maybe unpack that as well? Because that's quite a big thing. I understand that the numbers are going to change, because I think it's $500,000 US, and I think it's increasing to 900,000.
It's increasing to 900. Yeah, it's actually quite interesting. Congress, it's been in the pipeline for a while. So let me just explain EB5. EB5 is an opportunity that the USCIS, United States Immigration Service, basically have put in place, whereby foreigners can get a green card or a resident status in America for your family, you, your spouse, and any children under 21 years of age, by investing in approved projects in the United States. Now, to get an approved project is not a simple process. It's very regulated. It's scrutinized by the USCIS, and we're very proud to say that we are a regional center. We are called the Space Coast Regional Center, which Johan was instrumental in setting up. And a regional center is basically authorized to process EB5 visa applications. So yes, correct, it's $500,000 plus about around $50,000 US in legal fees, administrative costs, etc. But that virtually guarantees you your green card. You effectively invest the money in the facility. Normally, the returns on a EB5 visa program is either 0% or 1%, maybe 1.5%. I've seen here in South Africa being offered. But you're dealing directly with the developers here. And we are offering a 7%. It's an industry-leading return of 7% per annum on your $500,000 investment, which is very, very significant. That's $35,000 interest per annum that you'll be paid for your investment, which is pretty significant. It must be with the project for 5 years. So the process is 5 years, but you get your temporary green card within about 18 to 24 months, which allows you to travel to the United States, live in the United States, and work in the United States. And that eventually, if once the temporary green card when it matures at 5 years, you can actually apply for United States citizenship as well. But with the green card, you can effectively live and work in the United States and go to school there. Your kids can go to school, and you can have a whole new life.
Right. So just in terms of the 7% that you mentioned as well, Ryan, do you have any control in terms of what you invest in, or do we leave that to you guys that know where you can get those 7% returns?
Well, Johan, if you could answer that.
Well, yes, you invest in assisted living, and that is the reason why we can give the higher interest rate.
Right.
Because of the profitability in assisted living is so high that we can afford the 7% instead of paying. And I felt it was only fair. I've looked at it always. I've looked at it from my side. How would I feel if I was in South Africa? What would I want? I would want a decent return on my money.
Sure.
I know most of the EB5s have come out of China. The Chinese don't care. They are willing to take no interest at all as long as they get a green card. The problem with China today, China is backed up because they give a quota. China is backed up for 13 years for EB5s. We could sell all our EB5s in America if they just open the floodgates of the Chinese. So that is the reason why we can pay those high interest rates. And the other reason for the increase from 500,000 to 900,000. Remember, This was brought in 29 years ago. The EB-5 immigration system was brought in. And with the Congress feels with time and inflation, it should be a lot higher. And they pegged it on 900,000 and 1.8 million as well.
Right.
And that's as of the 21st of November this year. So literally there's 91 days. If people were on the fence and looking at the EB-5 visa in terms of getting a green card, then they have literally 91 days to get the funds together, submit the application, and we would handle that whole process for them. They can just go to gibraltar.co.za. The information is on the website. It's a specific project that they're investing in, which is the Harmony Landing Assisted Living Development, or it's a steamboat landing. There's a couple of phases, and they can see the information and read about the project on our website, gibraltar.co.za, and get an idea of where the site is. And obviously, we'd be very happy to set up individual one-on-one meetings with interested parties and show them exactly what options they have and the opportunity in their hands.
So you are doing tours there? You're doing tours if South Africans, obviously, they must jump on a plane. Would you recommend them jumping on a plane, coming over, feeling the cloth?
Absolutely.
Well, that sold me. That sold me.
Neil, the other question that I've been asked a lot from South Africans when they talk to me, and I'm always available to take a call, is, well, do we need to move over right away? No, you don't. You don't have to move over. I understand that as I did when I had my green card, I still stayed in South Africa another 9 years because I had to wind down my business in South Africa and move assets over to the United States. So it's not like as if you've got a job in Australia and you need to be there on Wednesday morning to start. No, this is for business people. It gives them plenty enough time to move and start thinking about moving assets over and start moving their businesses and business interest over a period of time.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Great. So Ryan, okay, so people are interested. They would contact you where? How would they get hold of you besides your website, of course? Maybe you want to give your email or telephone number to...
Well, just simply, it's Ryan, R-Y-A-N, at Gibraltar. Gibraltar is like the Rock of Gibraltar, GIBRALTAR.co.za. So it's Ryan at Gibraltar.co.za. They can send me a WhatsApp on my cell at 082-567-0735. That's 082-567-0735. And we can set up a meeting, a conference call. We've got the information that we can mail them. We can fly down to the Cape or to Natal, wherever it happens to be. We've got 91 days. We're not messing around. This is our main focus. Sure. So those that are interested in the EB-5, we'll get to any interested party anywhere in the country within 48 hours, no problem. But they can contact us certainly, and we can discuss the options with them. No problem.
And just another thing, Neil, just as talking from one ex-South African to another, it's very easy to fit into America. Before I made the final decision, I've been in Australia, I've been to other places around the world, and it actually, you sliding there so easy because America is a nation of immigrants. Everybody comes from somewhere else. Everybody is from a different place. And you adapt. The business principles are very capitalistic, as the old South Africa used to be. It's still fun doing business. It's interesting, and you fit in so easily. I do recommend that anybody starting businesses in America finds himself an American partner. Because it helps you over a lot of the adaptation to a different way of doing business. And also somebody who's got a South African connection as well. So somebody that lived in South Africa probably is the great partner. Gentlemen, thank you very much. We understand. Excellent. Johan Sturm, I don't want to keep you from your beach time because thank you. Thank you very much for chatting. That was very informative, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of interest from our investors out there. And Ryan van Heerden, thank you very much, gentlemen. It was great chatting to you.
And so if you want to get hold of Ryan, just go on to the gibraltarcapital.co.za website. Thank you very much, gentlemen. It was great chatting to you. And
thanks, Neil.
speak soon. Thank you.